When a narcissist shame on you, but in turn they shame on themselves, this is what happens. Hello everyone, it is time for another video. Please accept my best wishes for a day devoid of tension. I so appreciate you subscribing to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate your assistance. In light of this, I would like to devote some time today to discussing the depths of narcissists' shame and the elaborate measures they take to conceal it. The truth is that everyone experiences public humiliation on occasion. I hope that after watching this, you will all have a greater understanding of shame in all its forms. Narcissists, on the other hand, take the spotlight due to the centrality of shame in their existence. What do you regret not doing the most? We must first define shame before we can respond. Now let's learn to distinguish between shame and remorse, two commonly misunderstood emotions. It is the sick sensation that develops in the pit of one's stomach after making a bad decision. When we recognize that we are at fault or believe that we have failed in some way, we feel humiliation. To put it another way, to feel guilty is to acknowledge wrongdoing, while to feel ashamed is to acknowledge culpability for the wrongdoing. From this perspective, who we are rather than what we do determines whether or not we experience shame. Like agony, shame is something that only the individual experiencing it can perceive. Clearly, narcissists have no contrition when it comes to lying, cheating, and manipulation. Why? Because doing so makes them joyful. They harbor an internalized sense of shame, which they rarely discuss. Since the narcissist despises the abhorrent, filthy creature they have become, they experience intense shame, which contributes to their extreme anguish and feelings of insecurity. They take extraordinary measures to conceal their true identities. They have internalized the false belief that they cannot be accepted and adored for who they truly are. Narcissists are ashamed, but are incapable of admitting it due to their vanity. They avoided the region like the pestilence and never attempted to confront that shame directly. If they choose to ignore the issue, they will not be required to take action to resolve it. The same applies to avoiding situations or individuals that could force them to confront their shame. They have realized that the best approach to deal with shame is to bury it as deeply as possible. To conceal the reality of who they are, they must engage in much boasting, adulation, and other deceptions. They were overly concerned with projecting the image of the ideal companion they believed they deserved. They appear to have fused with their role. They go to great lengths to conceal their true identities and the constant despondency that burdens them, so that no one will notice them. Those who suffer from crippling shame are constantly plagued by feelings of insignificance. They are cognizant of the problems, but they cannot accept it. As a result, they find comfort in fabricating an alternate reality in which they deceive and lie their way through life. Therefore, they always put on a show. In order to conceal their true, repulsive natures, they adopt the personas of others or ridicule them. Despite being broken, dark, and wretched by nature, they would engage in all of this self-help labor to satisfy their ego and false self. Because narcissists are so concerned with how others perceive them, they frequently attempt to conceal their inner anguish and suffering. They have given up on life because they are so miserable on the inside. Because of this, they deceive themselves and everyone around them. This is why, despite their prosperity, they continue to feel so inferior. The shame continues to pursue them, despite the fact that they've all done different things and have distinct ties. After degradation, no amount of money can restore a person's self-respect. They continue to heap on more and more disgrace as time passes. Due to their guilt, they are wretched and inferior individuals. And this guilt is the source of their anxiety. All of the narcissist's other insecurities derive from their incapacity to deal with shame. A narcissist can be made to experience shame again by humiliating him or her in public. If you break up with a narcissist, you may feel humiliated and regretful. Changes in one's life, such as aging or obtaining negative feedback, may trigger inferiority complexes. It makes sense that individuals would go to great lengths to avoid embarrassment. This feeling occurs when an individual refuses to acknowledge who they are. What rational person, however, would willingly subject themselves to that? Narcissists spend their time repressing and feigning when other strategies would be more beneficial. Their inability to recover is largely attributable to the fact that they spend their entire lives deflecting responsibility and looking elsewhere for answers. Instead of assuming responsibility for their actions, they attribute fault to third parties. The only way out of one's inner prison is to recognize that something is wrong, that one is not perfect or normal, and to confront that darkness. Their new identities no longer persuade us that they are in a superior position. They are surrounded and have no escape route. Regardless of what the world perceives, we are aware that they are not alluring. In other terms, they are only misleading themselves. However, they cannot rely on anyone else for assistance or rescue. Many individuals behave in this manner because they cannot force themselves to be truthful with themselves. Realizing that they are solely responsible for initiating change or providing assistance. By perpetually denying, suppressing, and projecting, they avoid facing their greatest fear, shame. They experience the most profound shame because they are ashamed of who they truly are. No one can deny having experienced shame at some point in their existence. Despite the fact that everyone experiences shame at some point, narcissists frequently bottle up their shame for the remainder of their lifetimes. They refuse to confront their problems and accept responsibility for their heinous actions. They refuse to reform their dishonest methods and instead choose to completely disregard society. And much of their resentment stems from deep-seated guilt. Narcissism is an essential defense mechanism against shame. Those who experience debilitating feelings of shame may seek external validation in an attempt to conceal their diminishing sense of self-worth. The book's interior is filthy. You cannot evaluate it by its cover. We have all encountered such a narcissist at some stage. Due to their narcissistic personality, any relationship with them is likely to be monotonous and one-sided. Even if we gain some empathy by learning about their terrible humiliation, our interactions with them will not change. I suppose that's all I can think of right now. As usual, I trust you found this information useful. Please share your thoughts and pose questions in the space below. We cannot wait to read them once we obtain them. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see similar content in the future, please subscribe to our channel and enable alert notifications. We appreciate you taking the time to view this. Thank you.